All right, today's video is going to be just on the basic terminology for different parts of the lathe. We have a lot of new people and they're not quite sure what everything on them is called. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the tenon and ways to keep it from popping out of the chuck. All right, let's take a look at that. All right, somebody asked me to do just a basic video on what everything on the lathe is called. So they're just starting out and they weren't even sure in the comments what somebody was talking about when they referred to something. So this is your headstock. Your headstock, spindle. These are your pulleys for changing your speed. This is called the lathe bed when they refer to that. This is your tailstock. This is the headstock spindle, and most of them nowadays are threaded. Almost all the new lathes, these are threaded, and they also have a Morse taper in them. And what that means is that the shaft here on different attachments for like a live center or a spur center are tapered, and it's a #2 Morse taper. And most of the lathes are probably #2 unless you get into some really big ones, and then they're #3. And I'm not sure if they actually even make #1 Morse taper lathes anymore, but that's what that means. Is so when you slide that in there, it seats all the way down. And it's nice and solid and true. So you have your banjo and tool rest here. That's what that is, and that's what your tool rides on. Your thread here on the spindle, these vary, so you need to, if you're buying like a cullet chuck, a 4-jaw chuck here, the threads that it comes with needs to be the same teeth per inch as the shaft here. They do have, this one was on an older lathe of mine, a big lathe, and I had to get an insert for it and have it made. I've never really had much luck with these inserts running completely true, so I don't like them. If you can buy one that's just one solid piece, it's threaded to the right size, they just run truer than trying to get these inserts fit in there. And they fit in there fine, they work, they just, I don't think it runs as true as this one does, where it's all set up for it and inside. That's basically it on the just nuts and bolts of the lathe. You know, a lot of them come with reversible. You can go forward and backward on them. So I think that's basically it though for. All right, so here's the little piece I was doing last week with the flowers. I cut this tenon on it. What you want to do in these jaws on the different manufacturers, they're all different on the inside. Some of them are straight, some of them have a little lip there, some of them are tapered like a dovetail. So you need to cut that tenon as close to whatever your jaws are on the inside. The second thing is, you don't want to cut it too deep, or you don't want to make it too deep. You don't want it to hit the bottom of that before it bottoms out on your lip there. So you want it to go in there and come up just shy. Also, don't make them too big. So this one here is, I'm going to crank it all the way in. All right, there I have maybe 1/4 inch or so. You can actually go a little bit further. You don't want the tenon too big, so your jaws are all the way out here. As they go in, they're being threaded in, so the closer you can get them to center there, the truer it's going to be, the tighter it's going to be, and the more stable. The other thing is, I got a lot of questions about wood popping out of the jaws. So if you're working on a box way out here, and there is a tremendous amount of pressure, especially if you get a small catch or something, it's pushing that wood, trying to pull it out of those jaws. They're steel, this is wood. The wood's gonna give. It's gonna pull it out like that. And you may not even notice it on the first one, but it's all of a sudden now it's loose. So you need to constantly check this. Dry wood, it's not quite as critical because it's got a nice bond on it, but especially wet wood, no matter what you're doing with wet wood, if you're turning green wood, check this thing, tighten it up. You'll be able to get a quarter of a turn out of it every time you come back to it. It's smashing the wood fibers. They're full of water, so it's just continuously smashing it, and you're out here with a bowl and just digging on the rim of it. There's a tremendous amount of pressure, and this thing, the steel jaws will obviously, the wood's going to lose, so it's going to continuously get loose. Even if you don't have a catch, it's going to loosen up because it's just trying to push on it, and there's so much water in it that it's compressing it as you go. On dry wood, it's not as critical, but always come back and check it, especially if you get a big catch, and even though it's still running true, it might just run true for a second. Come back over here, give it another twist, and it will tighten it up and give it a nice seal again. So I hope that cleared up that question. Try and make your tenon the profile of the inside of the jaws. Don't make it too long, and then make sure you check it every once in a while and tighten it back up, and especially with wet wood. So hope that helped. I think that was about it, and I'm going to do the next one. I got some fresh wood, so I'll do one on bowls and show you how to get it ready and rough it out, and so you can get it dry. All right, I hope that helped, and if you have any more questions about anything or other tools, just let me know and I will try and get a video up as soon as I can. Thanks a lot.